Welcome to Winning Wall Street's Money. Help support my channel. We need to get to 1,000 subscribers pretty much as soon as possible. So then I go live streaming because YouTube policy, they won't let me go live until I have 1,000 subscribers. Thank you to all the folks out there that have subscribed to my YouTube channel. If you have not yet, please take this moment now with helping me. Click subscribe. Next, click the bell. And next, click all. This helps you receive a notification when I post my next videos. Plus, click the thumbs up button and every time you watch my videos. If you got value from this video, if this was helpful, then please consider sharing a small monetary donation to my channel by going below and clicking on either my Patreon or PayPal links. If you join my Patreon page, then you'll get early access to these videos 24 hours before they're posted on the YouTube and lots more. If you prefer just leaving a small tip, click on PayPal. Either way, then you get that warm sense of satisfaction years down the line knowing that you helped me become a successful YouTuber.
Sunday, September 4th, 10:35 a.m. New York time. The futures broad markets, I'm going to include a few categories. There'll be the currencies, the interest rates, the commodities of energy, the commodities of metals. I have two grids. The grid on the left will represent the monthly time frame. The grid on the left will represent the weekly time frame. Note, the month is not over yet. So the candle grid on the far right is not completed yet, but it does represent, again, the time frame of the monthly. The grid on the left represents the week. We completed a full week last week. First, tomorrow in the United States, Monday is U.S. federal holiday, Labor Day. That means this coming week will not be a full trading week in the United States. Let's get started. We're looking at the U.S. dollar index. U.S. dollar index on the monthly time frame. Look at that. We took out the high of last month. Very nice. We also took out a swing high, breaking above this supply zone, just shy of 110. Strong like bull. Can you beat it? Show me a currency that's beating that one. On the weekly time frame, yep, we took out the weekly high and closed above it. Strong like bull. So this trend, if you notice here, this candle was a solid body. And then you had these smaller bodies, big wicks. So there is a probability that on a retest, some point in time, there would be a retest when the prices pull back lower. Want to identify where might this occur at? When? Well, that's a whole different guesstimate. But certainly, a good chartist can do some charting to find out potential areas where it may pull back. Yep. And how does that help you? Well, if you want to look to buy, if you're still bullish, and if it comes back to those price levels, well, that might become a trigger point. Yep. So this big candle, I just labeled the midpoint weekly, and I'll set an alert later on. Again, there's more involved to doing this, but that's part of the process. Note also, this week in the United States, the Federal Reserve speaks. Yep. There's a day and time posted. If you're familiar with the proper website for the Federal Reserve, the direct source. If you go to somebody else that's a blogger, regardless what media station outlet that is, they're getting their information. Or are they sharing that all with you? Yeah, I would go directly to the source. The United States Federal Reserve has a website, schedule of all their events. But like I said, this week, the Fed will be speaking early in the week. Could have reaction. Why? Because again, typically raising interest rates, the U.S. raising interest rates, which is the central bank. In the United States, we call it the Federal Reserve. Worldwide, they're known as central banks. Typically, when you raise your interest rates, they strengthen your underlying currency. But there's more to that. R is going higher. It's also U.S. dollar is one of the safe haven currencies. If you're not confident in your own country's currency or looking for a return on your currency, well, you're buying into the U.S. dollar. Yes, understand that. It's an investment tool as well, too. You make money right here. And that being said, if you're a bullish to the U.S. dollar and want to trade it as a stock ETF, because here This is the futures we're looking at, $DXY, $DXY, and saying this is the future. So futures trade on different exchange. Majority of the futures most people follow are the ones on the CME. The symbol is / by the symbols. And then there's another futures exchange, the ICE exchange, uses the dollar sign. But again, if you're bullish the US dollar, you can trade the stock ETF. Stock ETF is UUP. Look at that, same familiar pattern, very familiar. If you're bearish the US dollar, expecting it to go lower, you as well could trade a stock ETF that trades inverse. UDN. Yep, look at that, trending down. So either one, you could trade a stock ETF. You don't have to go outright and buy the futures. You don't have to do the options. Many choices you have. Okay, my Patreon members, below in this post, exclusively to my Patreon members, I have all the stock symbols of these ETFs. So I'm not going to put them all in this video because my Patreon members are more special. Good job out of you all. Wink, wink. Let's go on to the next. Also, time. Takes time. Let's go on to the next. Let's look at the bonds. These are the 30-year bonds. Bonds trade inverse from US interest rates. Interest rates go higher, bonds go down. Interest rates go down, bonds go up. So specifically, we're looking at the US Treasury 30-year bond. There's different durations. On the right, look at the monthly chart. We took out the low of last month. Also notice last month, huge body, small little wick. And look at that wick. It went up and tested midpoint of this big red candle. So of us that were bearish bias, it gave us alerts to look to trade bearish, to either short the bond futures, could buy put options, as well as buy the stock ETF that's bearish. And the low of the year is here. So we're much closer to the low of the year versus the high of the year here. Now on the grid on the left, the weekly, yep, same thing. Took out the low, made a lower low, lower high. Tested this demand zone, this gray area. Broke inside of it, even broke below it. But it closed inside of it. Still leaning bearish bias. Even it's got a big wick down there on the bottom. That candle range for the week closed below 50% of that range, leaning more bearish bias. Yep. Be deeply concerned if we break below the low of this year. It may happen. It may happen before the end of this year. But as well, we could have a retracement because look, all those red weeks. It's not sustainable. At some point in time, it's going to be green. The trend may continue going down. Like here. Here's a green candle. Made a lower high from the prior candle. So the trend was still down. But again, it went consolidation sideways. Opportunity to reload, buy into new bearish positions. Well, that was the bond. That was the currencies and the interest rates. Let's go on to the next financial instrument. Again, same time frame we're looking at, but different financial instruments here. We'll go into the commodities, the energy commodities, crude oil, nasty fossil fuel crude oil. For the month, look at that. We did not take out the low of last month. We have the US dollar took out the highs of last month. We have the US bonds took out the low of last month. But crude oil did not take out the low of last month. Nope, it's an inside candle currently on the monthly. It's indecision. It doesn't know what it wants to do. Again, that could be potential single. Small trading to range right now. Interesting. We're looking at the weekly. Yeah. Extreme trading range. Took out the high, took out the low of the prior week, and rejected these highs. Trading below, back inside that range below 95, and all the way down here below 90. So huge demand zone. Buyers were down here. Multiple times there are buyers stepping down here. But this is the first time in several weeks we actually closed inside here deeply. Look, these prior weeks never closed inside the supply zone. They were more bullish. This one, just shy of testing it, but not deeply closing in it. So this is the first one deeply closing in here. There's a potential we could see crude oil go lower. And hopefully those costs get passed on to the businesses, products and services that use it as embedded costs to the retail. Interesting. There's many people making false statements saying crude oil is at the all-time highs. No, it's not. It's not at the all-time highs of this year. No, we're much closer to the lows of this year. Yep. Look here on the grid on the right. Here's the low of this year right here. This is where we are now. It's shameful. They just talk out the side of their neck without showing charts. Just wonder where they get their information, what vitamins they need or are taking that's causing problems. Yeah, very entertaining. Charts don't lie, but people do. Let's roll into another commodity, different category, metals. We'll go into the gold. Here we are in gold. The monthly, yeah, we certainly took out the prior month candle, broke below it. But now we're back above. We tested that 1700, rejected it, tested this demand zone buyers and holding up. That's looking good. Very interesting, because this has been a key level of buyers over several years. Looking here on the weekly, same thing. We took out the low of the prior week, lower, 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 high. Closed below. That trend was down. Tested this demand zone, went inside of it, closed inside of it, but huge wick holding above that 1700. Buyers stepped in here. What do they think? What do they know that we don't know? Hey, are they guessing? Yeah, they might be guessing. But again, down here, this green candle, zoom in some more. That big green candle had a huge body to the upside, small wick. Buyers stepped in at that point. So we came back down there, tested that where the buyers were, went below it, and a bunch of buyers stepped in again. Maybe we'll eventually have a reversal. Don't know. Watch it closely. Watch it closely. But here, see a significant event too. Yeah. I guess I'll draw it and show you to it what it looks like. It's a letter. Do you see the letter? Maybe we'll start from the right side, drawing what this letter is starting to form. We'll get our magical tool. Right, kids? Magical tool. There we go. The high down to the bottom. In this letter, we're significantly determine a bearish bias or bullish bias. Yep. We're almost done. Pay attention, kids. Get off your phones. What letter is this? What letter do you think it is? Is that an M? It's similar to an M. Yeah. So ask yourself, what's bullish? An M or a W? Well, maybe you just follow along, stay alert, and see how this turns out. Do we A, break below the swing low, continue going lower, or do we reverse and go up? That's a trade idea. There's two trades you could take on there, depending on how it plays out. One could be the profitable, one could be on the wrong side. Many thanks for watching. Thank you, as always, for spending just a little bit of your time with me. If you've gotten value from this video, if this was helpful, then please consider sharing a small monetary donation to my channel by going below and clicking on my PayPal or Venmo. You can leave a small tip. If you don't want to share financial support, no problem. Just click the like and subscribe and leave a comment, please.